and thank you for joining us on Weather Out West on this Friday, January 23rd. For the next hour, we will showcase what's happening weather-wise across the western United States. I'm meteorologist Leah Pizzetti. I hope your Friday is off to a great start. We are going to get to your West Coast forecast shortly, but first, the entire country is watching the massive winter storm impacting nearly half of the United States. This storm is set to bring damaging ice, dangerously cold temperatures, and heavy snow starting today. The massive storm's impact zone is expected to stretch more than 1,500 miles from the plains across the south and into the northeast. More than 90 million people across parts of 23 states are already under winter storm watches. CNN's Reed Binion has more.
You think about travel, you think of the dangers outside. This, like you were saying, this is a triple impact.
A menacing storm with a massive footprint is set to hit more than half of the country with a potentially historic blast of ice and snow.
Half the country's population is going to see some sort of winter weather impact.
Some areas in the storm's path already dealing with crippling conditions. It all starts Friday in the plains, where the storm's massive pool of moist air begins to clash with Arctic air. Bone-chilling temperatures pushing the storm eastward.
We have about 70,000 tons of salt ready to go in our 275 plows.
Major cities in the Northeast could get their largest snowfall in at least 4 years. That includes New York, where officials are mounting a massive battle plan to prepare all 5 boroughs. Southern states are bracing for destructive ice from freezing rain, the storm's most serious threat, one that could cause extended power outages.
It's just entirely premature for them to be able to know how many people will lose power.
Ice could also make roads very hazardous.
Latest forecasts show a widespread event that's likely to spread ice throughout the state of North Carolina.
Air travel will also likely be impacted. Airlines including American, Delta, Southwest, and United have put out travel advisories and are letting customers rebook or cancel travel scheduled over the next several days. I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Now, AAA suggests to make sure to check the air in your tires because of this cold snap. It's never a bad idea to top off your gas tank ahead of a winter storm as well. If you plan on heading up to the mountains, be sure your car has an emergency kit with a few key items.
A vehicle emergency kit is one of the best things you can do ahead of time. So that means the basics. We also think about jumper cables, a first aid kit, a flashlight with fresh batteries in it.
And in any cold snap, for people without shelter, the possibility of frostbite goes up significantly. Dr. Parth Shah is an emergency room physician with Advent Health Porter and says even in mild cases, frostbite can cause some nerve damage. In more severe cases, it can lead to amputation. 9 News reporter Shalima Maharaj spoke with a woman who knows the life or death reality of surviving on the streets in the frigid cold.
Well, we spoke to an emergency room physician who says that the risk of frostbite is even higher this weekend, especially when the wind chills are factored in. Now, frostbite is one of the potential dangers of prolonged exposure to the cold, and for people without shelter, the risk is even greater.
It's not something I'd wish upon my worst enemy at all.
Sarah Lesh knows the feeling all too well.
I've had 3 children, I've broken bones, I've been in a car wreck, I've been out here. Nothing compares to the pain you feel from your fingers once that cold touches them and you can't get back.
Homeless for more than a decade, she found family in the bitter cold.
Bygones were bygones. You just, here you go. I can remember having 20 people in a little 4-man tent. It's my family. That's what you do.
Your risk is going to be significantly higher.
Dr. Parth Shah is an emergency physician with Advent Health Porter.
That kind of freezing is causing damage to your blood vessels and nerve endings, and the reason why you're more susceptible in your fingers, toes, your face, and your ears is that it's just a lot more sensitive in those areas.
The cold can be dangerous for just about anyone.
But in more severe cases, it can lead to like potential amputation and loss of those areas.
For Sarah Lesh, the feeling has stayed with her.
People They don't understand how cold and the lengths that you go through out here.
In conditions like this, he says it's important to layer up, wear moisture wicking materials, have good insulated gloves and wool socks. Shalima Maharaj, 9 News.
And as we continue to keep an eye on that massive winter storm, many of us in the West Coast are dry but still extremely cold. So let's get to our West Coast forecast now. We will begin in Colorado. This is one of the areas that is expected to feel the impacts from this massive storm. So let's turn to Kathy Sabin and Jaden Knowles with the forecast from Denver.
Hello from Denver, Colorado. We have issued a 9 News weather impact alert for today and tomorrow due to the cold and snow coming our way. We love the snow, we need the moisture, but the cold, not so much. A cold air advisory is in effect for northeastern Colorado. So far, it does not include Denver for wind chills to 10 and 20 below. We have cold Arctic air sliding out of Canada, that Canadian high pressure pushing that cold air down into central Texas, where it's interacting with that subtropical jet, and we have ice storm conditions from the southern plain states into the Carolinas. And we're catching a piece of this Arctic air here. It's already starting to filter into Colorado today. We're mostly cloudy with a few snow showers around the area and looking for some accumulation overnight tonight into Saturday morning. Low pressure sliding in off California into the Great Basin will kind of help to enhance some of those numbers. But the ice storm will be one for the history books, extending across 12, 24, 36 states, and also looking at quite the snowstorm in the Northeast as this low begins to lift north. Anywhere from 12 to 18 inches of snow expected in New York. We'll watch the snow pick up in coverage and intensity in our mountains today. Our best chance for accumulating snow will be overnight tonight with a quick little 1 to 3 inches. Mountains could see anywhere from 4 to 12 with a winter weather advisory in effect and a winter storm warning out for the San Juan range for well over a foot. The snow really fills in today. Mostly the heavy snow stays above 8,000 feet from Aspen down to Telluride. And here we're in that 1 to 3 inch forecast snow range for the metro area. Temperatures aren't going to move a whole lot today. We think we'll see lower 20s, but not for long. Weather impact alert for Friday and Saturday. Highs in the teens and lower 20s, lows around 0. We clear out on Sunday, but it stays very cold for the football game ahead of a nice warming trend on Monday and Tuesday.
I'm Weather Impact Team Meteorologist Jaden Knowles here in Denver, Colorado, and this weekend is going to be a very big weekend as the Broncos take on the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. But we want to talk about some weather. We already see the impacts across the entire country, especially down towards the south. But how does that impact Denver? Well, I'm going to break it down to you. Talking about those wind chill values. If you take a look at your screen there, you can see wind chill is what the temperature feels like on your skin when wind removes heat from your body faster than calm air would. Even if the thermometer says the low 20s, a steady breeze can make it feel like the teens or even colder. That matters because frostbite can begin with wind chill values drop to 0 or below. Now, in those conditions, exposed skin can be damaged in as little as 30 minutes. And when wind chill falls closer to 20 below 0, frostbite can happen in just 10 minutes. Looking ahead to Sunday, Broncos fans will want to bundle up because high temperatures will only reach the low teens with snow showers possible throughout the afternoon hours into the game as well. But cold weather football is nothing new here in Denver. Some of the coldest games in Broncos history have been played right here at Mile High, including the famous game against San Diego back in 1972 when kickoff temperatures were below 0 and the Broncos still came away with a 38-13 victory. So, of course, if you're heading out to Sunday's game, wear layers, take some breaks in between during the afternoon hours, of course, just at the game because it's going to be extremely cold. Maybe go into the restroom to warm up and then go back out and cheer on the Broncos. But it really doesn't matter because this is football weather, of course. So bundle up, and we know that we're going to get that victory. Here in Denver, Colorado, Jaden Knowles, 9 News.
Okay, but football weather in the Northwest as well. Of course, we have a playoff game happening in Seattle, our other West Coast city, hosting a game. When we come back, we're going to have a look at the forecast from the Northwest, that Seattle playoff game as well. Our meteorologists in the Pacific Northwest are going to be ahead. Welcome back. Oregon is dry but cold. Meteorologist Rod Hill is in Portland with the forecast.
Happy Friday from Portland, and we are sunny this morning. Beautiful day coming up. I'm meteorologist Rod Hill. I want to show you Timberline. We're showing off more blue sky than the mountain, but the main thing I wanted to point out was the temperature. It's 28 degrees. This is at 6,000 feet. You're thinking, yeah, that sounds like not a bad morning, and you would be correct. But here's the deal. It's been about a week since Timberline's ever gotten below freezing. So the fact that it's 28, colder up at the lodge than it is in Portland this morning, means that the temperature inversion pattern is over. And that means that we have a reasonable chance to clear out areas like the Dalles, like Pendleton, like down into Bend, where it's been cloudy day after day after day. Our live cameras are showing off the clearing. We had clouds last night, so we didn't get as cold as what we have been seeing. And now with the early morning rapid clearing, the stage is set for just a lovely Friday. Again, that's Seaside up along our north coast. There's the Reserve Vineyards and Golf Club in Aloha. And notice there's no frost on the grass. Again, that's because we had cloud cover all the way into the 6 o'clock hour here. So about the time it cleared, we started to get some warming from the early morning sun. The Reserve Vineyards and Golf Club out in Aloha, beautiful in downtown Portland, showing off the same. We stayed in the mid-30s this morning, so we've been above freezing as well. The weather map for today, check it out. Everybody's got sunshine, we think. Now, it's still cloudy this morning in Pendleton, still cloudy in the Dalles, back into beautiful Hood River, back down into Madras, and I think down into Bend. So clearing in these areas will be on the gradual side of things, but I really think at the very least, your odds of seeing twinkling stars tonight is very high, as the temperature inversion is gone and you should start clearing out. The only reason it's going to be a struggle is there's not much wind. We'll be back up into the low 50s today at the coast. We did, by the way, here in Portland, have a trace of precip yesterday, so that ended that bid for a record-tying 13 days, which would have been tomorrow, of not even a drop of moisture. Again, we had a trace of rain yesterday, so that dry consecutive run actually ended at 10 days. And we do have a dry weekend upcoming, but we could have a trace of rain again on Monday. So here's a 7-day forecast. We have warming shelters open and alerts for cold weather again overnight tonight into Saturday morning and again overnight into Sunday morning. I've got Portland at 25, and parts of the Willamette Valley could actually dip tomorrow morning into the upper teens. So this is still really cold air at night. I've got 46 each day. Saturday's going to be clear. Sunday we'll see increasing cloud cover. Monday is the day it looks a lot like yesterday. Clouds sweeping through, either no rain or some traces or very limited rainfall. I think odds favor us dry to traceable rain amounts. And then Tuesday we're back to 52. Now Tuesday's interesting because notice the lows. I've got Monday at 33 because there's cloud cover coming in. But Tuesday kicks off an absolute back to normal pattern for us. Means the really cold nights will be gone. We'll be looking at some highs up around 50. We have rain chances developing Wednesday into Thursday. And right now that could be several days into the weekend of possible rain again. Now, unfortunately, the early look at that is that snow levels will be 5,000 feet, maybe even a little bit warmer, which would not produce that much snow up in the mountains. But we'll keep you updated on that. Have a good weekend. Again, here in Portland, we're still dealing with a lot of sunshine.
And it's a very similar setup just to the north in Washington. Meteorologist Ashley Ruiz has the latest from Seattle.
Hey there, happy Friday from Seattle, Washington. I'm King 5 meteorologist Ashley Ruiz with a look at your weekend forecast. It's going to be a really nice one, 2 weekends in a row with sunshine in January. So this dry stretch will continue, which I'll have the details on coming up. But today it's going to be beautiful. That ridge of high pressure building over the region once again, and that's going to send all of the clouds to our south. We had a disturbance move through yesterday on Thursday, but that is well to the south of us now. This weekend is going to be cool during the day, but very cold at night. Some of the coldest temperatures we've had so far this season. Next week, showers are possible. In fact, the models have really backed off on precipitation as we head into next week. Something to look forward to. Our first 5 o'clock sunset sunset is on Sunday, January 25th. We're gaining about 2.5 minutes of daylight right now, and then we spring forward on March 8th, which will be our first 7 o'clock sunset. Also to look forward to Sunday, the NFC Championship game. Our Hawks are taking on the LA Rams, and it's going to be a cold start to the day, whether you're starting tailgating at 6 a.m. or noon. It's going to be cold. Temperatures will be in the 30s. By kickoff at 3:30, we'll have temperatures in the low and mid 40s with thicker clouds rolling in. But hey, we're still expecting sunshine. Taking you to SEA Airport out of Seattle, we have blue sky, high clouds. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because if you have any travel plans, whether you're leaving or you have friends and family coming in town over the weekend, I'm sure you've heard about this, but much of the country under winter weather alerts, whether extreme cold, everyone will have extreme cold east of the Rockies too, but we'll also have ice and snow. Showing you through Sunday, very large swath of snow, and we need it here in our mountains, but all of this snow is going to impact a large portion of the country, potentially some really heavy snow for portions of Oklahoma into Arkansas, but you see pretty much a good chunk of the country will get some of this snow, but this is going to be impactful snow. The pinks, that's heavy snow, but what's really going to be crippling as well is going to be all of the ice. All of this color from New Mexico to the Mexico border through all the way up to the mid-Atlantic and the East Coast, going to have lots of ice, and this is going to impact travel, air travel, especially some of the thickest ice, potentially an inch of ice, not just a glaze. We're talking very crippling ice. This could lead to some very destructive conditions for our friends out east and going to impact some of the big hubs, the airport hubs. So if you are traveling, please make sure you check in, even with your friends and family out east, and check in with your airlines. So back home, we are going to have the chilly conditions, nothing like our friends out east, but still cold nonetheless. We'll have mornings in the teens and 20s. Next week, we start to warm things up. We'll have more clouds in place, but we're still not going to get any meaningful rainfall. I wanted to show you the view from Queen Anne looking toward downtown. Definitely a big difference from yesterday when we had all that fog, but you could see a little bit of fog, maybe a little bit of haze off in the distance, but still we have sunshine waiting for us. Today, highs in the 40s. Tonight is going to be cold, but likely not the coldest. We'll have low and mid 20s to our south, and then all the way up and down I-5 up to the Canadian border, even the coast, going to be cold in the 20s and 30s. We could have a little bit of patchy fog, but we should have somewhat of an elevated wind keeping the air mixing, so we likely wouldn't have widespread dense fog. As for the day tomorrow, daytime highs in the 40s, going to be a treat here in western Washington, but once the sun goes down, temperatures are going to tank. But during the day tomorrow, low and mid 40s, light winds, sunny conditions. But again, Sunday morning, this is when we'll likely feel the coldest temperatures, including portions of Hood Canal, typically our colder spots, and through the Chehalis Valley and the Cascade foothills may drop into the upper teens and lower and mid 20s. We don't officially have any cold weather alerts in place right now, but that could definitely change as we head to Friday afternoon. The National Weather Service may issue one of these products, but needless to say, it's still going to be cold whether we get an official alert or not. Let's talk about the futurecast because it's going to be quiet. You see, just taking you through into Friday, not going to see much, maybe a little bit of patchy fog in the morning. We'll likely have some more clouds late Saturday and into Sunday, likely some fog to start Sunday, and then we'll get high clouds streaming in. And more than likely, it's just going to obstruct the sun or give the sun a little veil, essentially. But the thicker clouds are set to arrive Sunday night and into Monday as a system tries to move into the area with some spotty showers to the south. Maybe there just won't be a lot of moisture for this incoming system to work with. Model guidance shows the potential for a system to move in late next week, a week from today, possibly not until next weekend. Unfortunately, me. This is one model, of course, so we'll have to fine tune it as we get closer, but showing through next Saturday, little to no snow. And in fact, Snoqualmie Pass, granted this is about 3,000 to 3,500 feet, but it was showing maybe a dusting overnight with a little bit of precipitation in place, but really nothing. Spring skiing and snowboarding conditions there. And this is the snow water equivalent, the latest, and all of that red that you see, that is below 50% of where we should be. And so our snowpack is really struggling. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear as though we're going to have any significant snow, but hopefully as we head into February, we could get that good weather pattern flip so we can work on our snowpack. And I know a lot of people want some lowland snow. It just doesn't look likely anytime soon.
Thanks, Ashley. When we come back, an in-depth look at our glaciers in the lower 48 and how warming winters and summers are threatening this crucial resource. We are going to get to eastern Washington now, where conditions are mild but cold. Meteorologist Thomas Patrick is tracking the latest.
I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick in Spokane, Washington, and isn't it marvelous to see the sunshine and see the blue skies? This is a picture I have not been able to show us in 2 weeks' time. It has been so cloudy recently that this almost seems magical to have a picture that looks like this over Spokane. We are soaking in the vitamin D, aren't we? The sunshine finally returns today, at least for most. A few clouds trying to be a little bit more stubborn than most here. It's our low temperatures that react more to the clear skies as opposed to the sunshine overhead. But let's once again soak in that live picture over downtown Spokane, the sun kissing the side of the clock tower. But I do want to point out that you can see Mount Spokane just in the distance there. We've been hard-pressed to see anything overhead, but to see that far in the distance really, really is super cool. At times, we've had to take you to the mountaintops to even see any sunshine and then witnessing all the clouds in the valley floor. This time around, the mountains are purely clear, both above and below as well. Look at that Schweitzer camera. Remember how cloudy it is in the distance here? But now you can see Lake Pend Oreille quite clearly, and it is really cool. And then, of course, you got the sun glare at the top of the camera. Silver Mountain doing just the same. Love to see how many rows of mountains you can see well into the distance. The visibility is absolutely magical as of today. And here goes the clouds. A little light northerly wind, enough to start pushing out that cloud coverage for most of eastern Washington. Still looked a little bit stubborn for Whitman County and the Palouse. Not sure why these northerly winds can't clear the clouds quite as easily in that region, but knowing that this weather pattern is working, it should eventually get there. It just might take a little bit longer than we may have hoped for areas like Pullman, Moscow, and Lewiston today. Now, even with the sunshine, our temperatures are still about the same. The reason for that is, yeah, we are warming up more in the day, but we cool off by just as much at night. So we kind of spread that range in both directions. It's not so much our high temperatures change, it's actually more our low temperatures start to change and get actually much colder overall. As we start the weekend Saturday morning, I'm looking at a low of 19 in Spokane, 20 in Pullman, teens to the north as well. Very much common for January, but colder than what we've had recently. So if you're out and about early in the morning before sunrise at 6 and 7 a.m., you'll experience that it is a bit colder than it has been recently. Not by much. I mean, it's only 6 degrees below average for low temperatures, 4 degrees below average for highs. We still call that a pretty typical January day, just nicer to see the sunshine first and foremost. So both Saturday and Sunday, about the same. Low temperatures in the teens, and then high temperatures will at least get into the low 30s. Our modeling does put a little bit of cloud cover in the region for Saturday morning, but it doesn't stick it around all day long. So I'll keep things mostly sunny today, Saturday, and Sunday. Again, colder in the morning, and then about the same in the afternoon with highs in the low 30s. Next week, we should see those temperatures just start to inch upwards a little bit.
Thank you, Thomas. We are also watching freezing conditions in Idaho. Hector Mendoza has the details from Boise.
Well, a large portion of the United States is going to be experiencing a lot of winter weather impacts, whether it's winter storms, whether it's ice or lots of snow here. That is going to continue here as we look further east and we continue all the way on in through the East Coast. But as you take a look at portions of the Pacific Northwest, not really seeing a lot of that activity here on our end, as we are going to start to see some winds slowly start to pick up this afternoon. Colder wind and colder air is going to start to sink in and make its way through southwest Idaho. That's what's going to keep temperatures pretty brisk and cold, but we are expecting to see a lot more of this sunshine, which we haven't seen in quite some time, as we've had some clouds and a lot of inversion conditions. So that stagnant air has really kept a lot of these low clouds here in portions of the Treasure Valley. So as we look at the satellite and radar picture, we did see a little bit of some of that moisture make its way through portions of the southern portion here of Idaho, where we saw a little bit more of some of that precipitation, especially as we look there through Twin Falls, the Magic Valley, all the way east. But a lot of that stayed confined in places there through the Idaho-Nevada border. And again, these are the views we're going to see again here for this morning. Might look a little different as we head on towards tomorrow, but the big factor is going to be these winds. If they pick up enough and this cold air comes in, it should start to help clear out some of these clouds, as we'll see some breezier conditions here coming in from the northwest, and we'll continue to see that here through this afternoon. But as we look at our future cast and look at some of these clouds, that's exactly what's going to help clear out some of the conditions. If you move on further east, though, heading in through the Mountain Home area, that's still the Treasure Valley. That will continue to see a little bit more of those clouds really hanging on. And of course, as we move even further east down into the Magic Valley, Jerome and Twin Falls, don't anticipate really seeing a lot of that clearing till Saturday afternoon. Then as we head towards Sunday, this is the expectation, seeing clear skies there through most of southwest Idaho. Valley's finally seeing a lot more of those clear conditions, and a lot of those changes will really start to come along as we get towards this weekend. But then we see a return of some of these inversion conditions as another ridge starts to rebuild here and through the beginning and towards the middle of next week. So as we start to break down the 7-day forecast, not really much of a change between today and tomorrow, other than a lot of that sunshine that a lot of people have been crossing their fingers to see here in the valley. That should continue, so enjoy it while it lasts here as we get towards Sunday. Then as we head towards the beginning of this week, we'll start to slowly see these temperatures climb up closer to more average temperatures as we'll get back into those low 40s, and it looks likely we stick around there for Wednesday and Thursday. And now as we look at some of the Twin Falls areas there through the Magic Valley, a lot of these temperatures really stick around those upper 20s here, staying below freezing here through Sunday. But we'll see a slight jump here from Sunday in through Monday, as we'll see those mid to upper 30s, which stick around here through Thursday. And of course, a lot of the mountain spots will continue with a lot of that sunshine here in through Sunday. And as those clouds start to make their way through, we'll start to see cloudier skies. Temperatures will still continue very frigid out in the mountains as we'll continue into those 0-degree temperatures, single digits, and down below zero here through Saturday. And then, of course, as we start to notice, a lot of those clouds will start to increase. And of course, those temperatures will also start to rise up a little bit more into those mid-30s. But then we'll also see morning temperatures starting to get a little warmer, but still right into those teens as we head towards Wednesday.
Let's go to California now. It is fairly mild in Southern California. Meteorologist Evan Narani has the forecast from San Diego.
Hey everyone, and good morning to you. I'm Evan Narani with CBS 8, and we are watching for a decrease in clouds over the course of the afternoon before we see a few more sprinkles in the overnight stretch. Last night and too early this morning, we saw some of those light rain showers come about. They mainly culminated to 1/10 of an inch overall. And now as we look outside, we've got breaking apart of those clouds. Should have ample opportunities for sunshine into the afternoon stretch. We've been talking about what other parts of the country are dealing with, though, and the same storm that we're seeing in Southern California, this trough of low pressure that's just bringing scattered showers, is going to continue up to the northeast of us as the weekend progresses. This afternoon, high temperature in Minneapolis, 27 degrees below zero, 22 below in Chicago and Bismarck, 15 below in Lincoln, and you make it all the way down south to Dallas, they're barely above freezing, 39 degrees as that afternoon high. So we can be happy about our mid-60s, even with this trough of low pressure directly overhead, essentially. Just to the south of us, really, it's passing over the Baja Peninsula, sending scattered showers our way over the next 24 and 48 hours. Now, The storm that does not have a lot of moisture associated with it in our region will start to really grab on to any available moisture. It's going to come in the form of snow, ice, and rain to other parts of the country, some sleet possible. So absolutely could be impacting travel plans into and out of San Diego, as well as the majority of the eastern half of the country, the eastern 2/3 of the country. When we make our way through Monday, most of that stormy weather will have made its way out east of the East Coast, which means it'll be out of our hair by then, might be picking up on some of those rain showers up toward the Pacific Northwest by that time frame. In San Diego, maybe a few more sprinkles to watch out for between now and the end of the day. As we get into the overnight stretch from tonight into tomorrow, we also may notice a few sprinkles, especially off the coast. And then by the time we get into Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening, what do you know? Final round of wet weather possible, getting out of our hair from there on. Again, all in all, when we had talked about how this storm would make its way through San Diego, we talked about roughly 1/4 of an inch over the course of 3 days. Already we're at maybe 1/10 of an inch, could pick up on an additional 1/10 of an inch. And that'll kind of be the end of the storm. It'll fizzle out from there, just for us fizzling out, but of course gaining momentum as it travels east. 7-day forecast here out by the coast is going to be really mild. We get to the upper 60s once again by the time we get into the beginning of next week. A weak ridge of high pressure will start to build, taking our coastal temperatures back up to the upper 60s, partly cloudy skies. Over the course of the weekend, we're not by any means encouraging you to spend time inside. Instead, just be weather aware, right? Step outside, take inventory of what we've got going on. In most cases, you'll probably encounter partly cloudy to mostly cloudy skies, a little bit of a cooler breeze coming through, and it's kind of perfectly set for this time of year. It's what we would expect in terms of winter weather. We're right on the nose as far as average temperatures go. We'll get back into the above average range by Tuesday of next week. The mountains are getting cold overnight, down to the 20s from Saturday into Sunday. 28 degrees is that overnight low, down to the low 30s. Could be sub-freezing for Sunday night and Monday night as well. Deserts are going to be left out of this wet weather. They'll mostly be in the 60s and 70s for the afternoons all the way through the weekend and into next week. Back to you.
Thank you, Evan. Let's take a trip up I-5 or Highway 99 if that's your preference to Northern California. The northern part of the Golden State is also sitting in a fairly mild winter pattern. Let's go now to meteorologist Monica Woods in Sacramento.
I'm meteorologist Monica Woods, and we're checking on our regional headlines as we're wrapping up the work and school week. For the coast, mostly sunny skies, breezy for the valley, and for the foothills, we're calling for slightly cooler weather ahead, a spring-like feel if you're headed up to do some skiing and snowboarding. So get those sunglasses out. A lot of sunshine up there. Also use the sunscreen as well. It's been since January 6th since we've seen measurable precipitation in the Sacramento area and mostly through Northern California. So we're kind of ending on a dry note here after a big boom at the beginning of the month. It's been 17 plus days of that current dry streak. The average days that we don't see any precipitation is about 25 during the wettest time of the year. Certainly we have much longer streaks in the summer months when we don't see anything in the rain bucket, but it would be nice to kind of stir things up. Now we will get a little change in our weather pattern heading our way. Here's a look at what we're tracking, and that is more fog throughout the Central Valley, even towards the coast, but things start to erode over Friday afternoon into Saturday. That's when we start to pick up more of those northwest winds developing. That's going to dry us out somewhat throughout the valley and kind of clear out some of the gray that we've been seeing along Highway 99 and I-5. Once we get into our Sunday, those winds actually start to back off, and so we'll be right back into a foggy pattern by early next week. I'll look at when we might see more in the way of rain and snow. That comes potentially by the middle of next week. It's kind of a weak little weather system in and out of here. Still some uncertainty whether that will actually come to fruition or not. Here's a look at those afternoon highs. We're in the 40s up top for the Sierra, with 50s and 60s down low throughout the foothills. Let's take it into the central Sierra, where highs are going to be in the 40s to near 50. Inland areas will be in the 50s to right around 60. Across the Central Coast, highs are going to be in the 50s to lower 60s, with inland areas again in the 60s. And for the Bay Area, a mix of sun and clouds over our Friday, then mostly sunny for that weekend forecast. Highs are in the 50s. Moving on to the Northwest Coast, highs are going to be in the 50s and low 60s. We'll see upper 50s to low 60s on the north end of the valley. And for the capital region, morning lows lows right around 40. Afternoon highs climbing nicely into the 50s there for our Friday. Heading into our 5-day forecast for the mountains, we're in the 30s and 40s over the weekend. Cold morning lows, but highs are going to warm nicely into the 30s and 40s for the afternoon. A little bit cold to start off the weekend forecast, but then we're right back into the 40s as we wrap things up, and that's how we'll start off next week. For the foothills, a mix of sun and clouds. Highs are going to be in the 50s and 60s all weekend long with predominantly dry conditions, as you'll see here. Fog along the coast to start us off here on our Friday. Then we start to clear things out. Like I said, those northwest winds doing a nice job giving us some peaks of sunshine finally. Ours are going to be in the 50s and 60s Saturday and Sunday, 60s ahead by early next week. Our extended forecast. We've got the breezy winds in on Saturday. That will help to scour out a lot of that fog that's been so persistent throughout the valley. Gives us a little bit of a break here. But as you head back to work and school, just be prepared. More fog to contend with and a little bit slower drives on those commutes. And then that chance of rain heading our way by next Wednesday, tracking another chance perhaps by the following weekend.
Welcome back to Weather Out West. Let's go to the desert now, where it's fairly mild currently. Meteorologist Ginger Jeffries has the forecast from Phoenix.
I'm meteorologist Ginger Jeffries with a look at your weather out west, where, yep, we have our version of winter weather moving on through. I'm expecting some periods of rain. We'll get some snow, and temperatures are going to be cooling down dramatically. Again, this is by our standards. I understand there's just a wallop of a weather pattern going on across the rest of the nation. So, yeah, pales in comparison to that, because I'm still talking about temperatures that are going to hit 70 today in Phoenix. We've got 46 in Flagstaff. Now, if you notice, on the west side of the state, we're really not looking for much action. I don't think it's going to hit the west side today. By tomorrow, though, the waves of moisture should fan out a little bit. So, yeah, you may get some drizzly conditions tonight into tomorrow. The focus is going to be right here, east side of the state, and especially those higher elevations where, yes, National Weather Service has issued a winter weather advisory, and this goes through Friday morning. Snow in some of these parts, so I'm talking above 7,000 feet, could reach 1 foot when all is said and done. Meantime, for the city, for the metro, we are looking for a chance at rain out there this morning. We've already gotten some drizzly type conditions, and it's going to be kind of periods of rain. We're not looking for all day rain. We've got better chances in the morning and then later this afternoon, especially overnight and into tomorrow morning, and then more later in the day. So again, it's going to kind of be off and on here or there. We've got a morning sprinkle potential. Otherwise, it's going to be cloudy. And yeah, temperatures, they've come down 10 degrees since last week. We're still technically above the normal range at 70 today, and then overnight showers with overnight lows dropping to 51 degrees. So let's get into the good stuff. As you can see, it's just kind of like waves of periodic moisture, but it does look like the heaviest lifting will be tomorrow morning. That's also when the cold front comes into play. So as that front moves on through, we're going to see the snow elevations dropping. And I'm, again, looking for some of these elevations to get down to about, maybe 4,000 feet even. As far as the rainfall totals, under about, I'd say, 1/4 of an inch at best for the valley. Sky Harbor, our official measurement, be closer to 1/10 of an inch, but higher elevations on the east side could get up to 1 inch of rain. Now, snow elevations, this is going to be interesting. Today at 7,500 feet, and it's going to be kind of a slushy mix. Overnight into tomorrow morning, we're dropping down to about 5,500 feet, but then as that cold front moves on through, look at this, the snow elevations are going to be dropping. So what could the snowfall totals be? Between about 1/2 inch up to 1 inch of snow. Now, obviously, since we are talking about low snow, I'm going to be talking about low temperatures as well. We have numbers coming down. Now, remember, yesterday, Flagstaff, you were in the 50s. You're dropping into the upper 30s with overnights in the teens. And again, the best snow is going to be coming through early on Sunday morning. But be ready, because these waves of moisture will be producing rain and snow. So weather impact alert day for us tomorrow, as we should get some scattered showers, not steady rainfall, but scattered showers around the region, focused on the east side, but spreading out as well. Rainfall totals under about 1/4 of an inch. Rain and wind and, yeah, clouds. That's going to lead to temperatures being on the cooler side. We're in the 60s through the early part of next week.
Welcome back. Let's get back to that glacier story. The snowpack built in the winter, is what acts as protection for our glaciers in the summer. And with decreasing snowpacks each year, our glaciers are suffering. I hiked to one of Washington's glaciers to see how a team of scientists is working to bring awareness.
It's a powerful sight. A glacier. This one more than 5,000 years old. But for as old as it is, the end of its life is quickly coming.
As soon as we get to the snow, we'll put on the crampons.
Maury Pelto has been meticulously documenting this glacial melt for more than 4 decades.
There's the observer mode. You're just taking the measurements and trying to understand what's happening so you can tell the story. But then later, when you reflect, it'll get to you.
For him, this loss is personal. The Lower Curtis Glacier in the North Cascades is just one glacier Maury monitors each summer. Every July and August, he and his team spend 3 weeks in the North Cascades. This summer, they'll hike to 10 different glaciers. This project started for Maury in the 1980s when climate leaders knew mass melting was about to intensify. So they advised that monitoring start immediately to understand the scope. Maury chose to devote the next 50 years to documenting the North Cascades. That was 1984. Now, 42 years later, and he's seen with his own eyes how far glaciers like this have receded.
Like a lot of glaciers, you can see where it's really struggling. There's a wall on the far side of the glacier, a little couloir that goes up, and there's a ton of rocks poking out through that. And that used to be just a smooth snow face. We'd just walk right up it. And so when you start to see rocks emerging from below the glacier in an area that should be an accumulation zone where snow never melts, that's when you know the glacier can't survive.
After decades of data collection, he's now responsible for 3 of the world's 60 longest documented glaciers called reference glaciers.
2023 was the first year when every single glacier in the network lost mass the same year. In 2024, it happened again. So that's telling you it doesn't matter what mountain range in the world you go to, the story's the same.
In the U.S., there are only 8 states that have glaciers. Half of all glaciers in the lower 48 are found in the North Cascades, but those are quickly shrinking. When Pelto started his research in the 1980s, he says there were about 700 glaciers in this range. In the last 45 years, 100 of those glaciers have been lost, with most of them lost in the last decade. And the melting is speeding up. You can use me as a reference point. I'm 5'9". From 1984 to 2012, the average mass lost per year was about 2 feet. That number nearly tripled in the last decade. From 2013 to 2024, the average mass lost per year was about 5 feet 6 inches. So basically the same height as me lost every year.
We'll laser the kind of the steepness of the tongue.
Every summer, the team measures the slope and height and width of the glacier.
You just count up the annual layers. We have about 35 years worth in sight here.
They take measurements of the crevasses.
We'll drop the instrument down and it'll hit the bottom. Perfect, right through the hole.
Checking how deep they are.
21 feet.
They check the snowpack sitting on top. At this point in the year, we'd want 80% of the glacier to be covered in snow.
7.5.
But it now sits at 50%, meaning the melting snow will leave the glacier exposed and more prone to melting, expecting to lose 4% of its total volume this year alone. The team measures that melting outflow.
Kind of the flow direction.
This year, Maury was able to walk across the stream of ice-cold glacial water, a first and not a good milestone.
It's not a good change because that means the ice is retreating really quickly here.
That's Jill Pelto, Maury's daughter.
I'm going to be measuring some crevasses up there with the laser rangefinder.
This is her 17th year joining her dad on his summer research trip.
When she came out here after her sophomore year at high school, it was a tough year to do it.
I love getting to see these same places every year, and kind of now my relationship with them is so intimate that it's hard not to just want to keep coming and see how they keep changing.
But Jill brings a different set of eyes and skills to this team.
Art can be that connection, I think, between that kind of more factual information that can be technical, can be tough to understand, can be hard to relate to, and it can kind of, I think, break some of those barriers.
She creates art that is based off this glacial melting data.
I'll want the angle of the slope.
Working graphs and information into images.
Trying to dig into some of the stories of what we know about these landscapes, what we're learning and observing and measuring, and share like more kind of actual information with people, and also trying to really share like the kind of the beauty of these places and kind of the emotions tied in with that science.
This summer team is a mix of scientists and artists, bridging information and emotion.
For Jill, it was, she became my partner. And happily, it's hard to imagine doing this without her.
It became something that obviously like has changed my whole life, and I think it shaped a lot of the people involved in the project.
The numbers are powerful. 20% of this glacier has been lost in the last 5 years alone. But as they climb inside,
you can't always get under a glacier like this.
They see signs that it's still alive.
I love the different light coming through the layers.
This cave is at least 50 years old.
You can really see under here how the glacier moves so much material, like builds up.
But this will soon subside. This glacier is expected to disappear in Jill's lifetime. So every summer, they'll return, documenting the mass lost.
You think of that story, the lore actually speaks for the trees, and we speak for the glaciers. It's not a happy story.
This father-daughter team chipping away at awareness as these glaciers slip away faster and faster. Well, that does it for us here on Weather Out West on this Friday, January 23rd. I'm meteorologist Leah Pizzetti. Thank you so much for being with me today. We will see you right back here on Monday. And with that, we'll see which of our West Coast cities comes out with a win. Maybe both Denver, maybe Seattle. We'll keep an eye on the playoffs, but have a great weekend, everybody.